So who do we have with us today?
I'm Danny Noss. I'm the VP with KoG Games.
I'm Jay. I'm a project manager for Elsword.
And I'm Shyla. I am the social media and community manager.
And you guys on MMOHuts already know who I am, your least favorite live streamer. I am Jason, and today we are with the KoG Games crew, and we're going to talk about Elsword. Now, I've been a little out of the loop. I haven't played Elsword in a little while, admittedly. I love the game, but one of the downsides to being, games press is you don't really get a lot of time to play the stuff you want to play. But, today, from what I understand, we're going to be talking about various updates in the Elsword community.
Well, one of the biggest adjustments that some of our players are going to hear about is years ago. I mean, it's a boon and a bane in the same term. So when an MMO can say many moons ago, years ago, when we were still doing things, one of the biggest things that our community had talked about is our B slots. So when you go into a game and you're casting skills, you hit your hotkeys in a particular order, however you're set up, and then there's a second row. So in order to be competitive, you truly needed to access that second row of skills so you can be casting far more. I mean, each Elsword character has just an entire tree of all these different skills that they can cast, and so though you could play Elsword before with just your standard skill casting, in order to be competitive in PvE and PvP, you needed that second row, and it was a cash-only item. So one of the things that the team has done is made the B slots a free-to-play content. So you can now unlock that B slot without having to spend ka-ching. You do some quests and some easy stuff. We're not talking anything like game-breaking. And then you unlock the B slots. Also with the quick slots in order to expand that so you can use more potions, use more concept items. That has been expanded. Used to be a ka-ching only item, and now it's free-to-play content. Gosh, what else, Jay?
The Tomb of Amnesia, where you can reset your skill perks to do different things. That also used to be a cash-only items, or same with the B slot. We did have events that gave out these things to players, but obviously it was never enough for players with like 200 alt characters.
Oh, right.
So now,
for sure.
So we made that completely free to just craftable, very easy. You could be level 10 and technically craft one. It's not even hard to attain. So yeah, we've made a lot of advancements to make our new players and existing players very satisfied.
So very technically big quality of life updates. What he was talking about with the Tomb of Amnesia, if you append a trait to a particular skill, and you find out later on that that was just a bogus move, it did not cater to your play style, or it wasn't something that you really wanted to do, in order to unlearn that, you needed to spend cash in order to do it, or ka-ching. And so now you get that Tomb of Amnesia, which removes that, resets it, so now you can put whatever trait on that particular skill that you'd like. The professions.
Oh, yeah.
You can now change professions.
Fantastic.
So if you get into a wrong profession and you find out, you end up working for the man and everybody else, and you don't actually get that direct benefit from a profession, or it doesn't work for you.
You just swap it out.
You swap it out. It used to be ka-ching only content, now it's free to play, up to 3 times. And so you'll still have to spend ka-ching after the 3rd time. If you can't get it right in 3 times, then
there's something wrong. There's something wrong beyond the system. But
right.
If you change your mind and you want to switch back to a profession, do you lose your progress? Do you lose any content anything you've done with it since then? Or do you have to start that profession at the very beginning?
You'd have to start over again.
Okay.
What our players do is, because you can have a grip of characters on your account, like if they wanted to bounce professions from character to character, like if you wanted a blacksmith on one character and you wanted to do alchemy on another, that'd be the way to do it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like it makes way more sense.
Yeah, well, so much of the stuff that is bank shareable, especially per account.
So you could just make something on one character, throw it in the bank, and not have to worry about, oh, guess I better stop blacksmithing now.
Yeah, and technically each skill benefits each other. So you technically do want all three eventually.
So yeah, if you're that guy who just has one character on one account and you want to be the B2 and the jack of all trades, it's probably not going to work out. But if you have, I mean, you have 3 or 4 characters on a single account, you can put a profession on each of the top 3, and then you know, it's all metagame at that point. So you know, how are you going to trick these characters out in order to produce X content? You know, whatever's going to work best for the players, and there is that maneuverability.
Oh, absolutely. The big one for me, though, is the skill slots, because that's one of the things that I've always really had a problem with, like in other MMOs, like, say, for example, Final Fantasy XIV, you have such a skill glut, just an overwhelming number of skills you have to, in some classes, you have to hit all of those buttons, and now you've got to figure out, oh, I have a character that's got, like, 5 skill bars.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just sort of spidering my fingers desperately across the keyboard, trying to figure out a rotation.
Right.
So I imagine that'll definitely be very useful to people, especially for PvP, because like Elsword PvP, the last thing I really did was when I sat in on some PvP with some of the top PvPers for a video. It was a couple years ago, and I got spanked. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was ugly and it was quick. And
That
I
is,
imagine they have that access.
well, even with our when we jump into game and we're completely geared out, we'll go toe to toe with our big PvPers. These matches are not going to be these crazy long matches. Even if we're, you know, one of our best PvPers goes up against one of our other best PvPers, it's not going to be a 10-minute match. I mean, they wait for the other, whoever it is, to make one mistake. You make one mistake and they're all over you. The combos are locked up. It's not going to be like one, you know, they're not playing like the Street Fighter where you're going to get like this infinite combo. They're going to set up whatever. You're going to see them sitting on a ton of mana, and then you're just going to see a chain of events happen, and then
someone is like, dead.
Yeah, you're going to see a smoldering corpse in the corner.
I have to say, Elsword PvP is crazy. It is too much for me. Maybe on a controller, but on a keyboard, I would be doomed. I still have sort of a hard time getting used to Z and X being like attack buttons. It's just, I don't play any other game that does that.
All right. Well, you know, it's kind of, it goes, that's actually a hallmark of KoG. If you go back to Grand Chase, which was their launch title, very similar format. But where Grand Chase started out as PvP and then PvE elements were put into the game, Elsword started out as PvE and then PvP became a strong element of the game. And they learned.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the foundation of where all of Elsword's progression had occurred for the dev team originated in Grand Chase. God, even the main character, Elsword, is the brother to the main character of Grand Chase, which was Elysis. And now she transitioned into Elsword, I want to say 3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Huh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, back in the day, we made this huge announcement because we at the time we had never heard of an MMO actually having a titular character go one game into another and literally become canon.
And
Yeah, I can't think of any.
be more popular than the main character.
Yeah, that was horrible. When Elysis went into Elsword, she became more popular than our title character. I was a little upset about that.
Oh, that's gotta be rough.
They were joking around about renaming the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you guys have anything really big coming up for Elsword? Like, 'cause it's kind of hard sometimes to keep an MMO fresh and to constantly come up with new ideas and new ways to sort of shake it up. Again, it's all about keeping the community locked on. You don't want them to see, oh hey, there's that game over there. They're doing something new and interesting. We don't want any of that.
Yeah. Well, we got It's. I was just joking. I went to go grab some drinks with some buddies of mine in the game industry, and we kind of cover the spectrum from AAA all the way to indie and back. And they said, "What are you working on right now?" We were just kind of joking around, and I said, "Coming up with content for a game that's 6 years old." And I said, "Well, it gets better. Coming up for content for a 6-year-old free-to-play game that's based out of a small town in Korea, and for all intents and purposes, we are indie." As we started to stack more and more on the conversation, I kind of got a little depressed. I was going, wow, how does this work? How has it worked?
That's rough.
And it's what we loved about it is it never stopped. That was never anything we thought about. We look back and we're like, wait a minute, we've been doing this for 6 years. Like how? And it's obviously our players are absolutely amazing. They're super dedicated, but the team never backs down. I mean, if you're familiar with the game industry, nobody updates like we do. Every single week we have content going into the game. Every 2 weeks we have game expansions, and at least once a month or once a quarter, something huge blows up. So to kind of back to what you were talking about, in December. Was talking around Christmas time. Third jobs are going into the game. Now this is public knowledge to a point, but everyone's kind of scrambling right now to figure out what that means. And what it is so you're familiar with all the characters. Each character has 3 job paths.
Yeah.
Every single character in the game is going to get a 3rd class for each path.
So 37.
That's awesome.
37 new jobs are going to. And with the jobs, so if you're playing Elsword, and you play his second job, Rune Knight, and then you play his second job, Lord Knight, they play like 2 different characters.
Yeah.
So technically what we're doing is releasing 37 different character types back or into the game.
Will there be any kind of reset or way for people to try those other job classes, or will they have to make a new L or?
We do have class change items.
Okay.
There is a possibility that it might come out and it might not come out. I can't really say, but
well, the point is every character is already on a path. Mm-hmm. You're automatically going to have now the 3rd version of whatever your current path is.
Okay.
If you wanted to jump job paths, then you would have to. We've done it in the past, so I'm not making promises, but we've actually offered the job change ticket item so that people could jump.
Oh, that'd be nice.
God, if you had 10 different characters with 10 different job paths, that would be 10. So you would need 20 job change tickets in order to get 10 characters.
I don't know if we can afford that.
That's a lot, so maybe just 1 or 2.
Right. So in order for
use it wisely.
Yeah. Now this is the fun part too. Before, as a publisher, we were a few ticks behind Korea in regards to our content. But the fun thing about us is we're the developer and the publisher. We are KoG. Mm-hmm. So we are only going to be 2 weeks behind Korea.
Oh wow, that'll be great news.
We are already now 2 weeks behind.
Yeah, we're already 2 weeks behind. But when this new content drops, everyone's not able to see all the YouTube videos on Korea or on the Korean version of Elsword and be like, oh, we're just going to check this out and see how it goes. They're not going to have the time. So by the time that content starts dropping on our end, it's going to be mass hysteria. Well, I love getting to see the fact that our players, this is new content for them. They get to try it out. Even though everyone's going to be running amok to kind of see what they can learn about the different things and see how they play. The other aspect is we've also learned that the players in Korea and the players in North America, the players in Europe, players in Australia, their game strategies are so different, it's almost obscene.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Even looking at stuff like MOBAs and fighting games, each region's community is so vastly different to how they approach a game. It's really kind of awesome to see. And I would argue that for someone who is new or hasn't tried Elsword or plans to, that could be the best time to try, because now you have even more options. Elsword already had a lot of options. Each character plays different. Each path plays different to like the base character. I think this is probably the best time if you're lapsed or you're new and you weren't sure if you wanted to play Elsword, should keep an eye on this news.
Absolutely. Now,
and I don't know when this is gonna be posted, but tonight we're gonna have a maintenance. And in preparation for the third job, because the requirements to that job will be much higher than the second jobs, we're making a lot of changes to the endgame gearing process, making it more efficient and more logical, basically. We're not making you grind the same dungeon 500 times anymore. We're making it a lot easier for you to acquire gear so you can have your progression faster and have more fun while you're doing it.
Oh, fantastic.
It'll be a really, really great update, actually, tonight.
So we're actually going to be releasing like we've already released one video called the Elsword Insider.
Mm-hmm. I remember that, yeah.
So we're breaking down exactly what kind of stuff is going into the game. So it's not like, oh, hey, everybody, we've got content, come look at it. This is the content, this is why it benefits you, and here's how you're going to be able to use it. This is why it makes sense to you. So the content that we're launching tonight is actually going to be so thick that we have to do another insider to actually tell all of our players exactly what it means. So like with what Jay was talking about, we're going to be streamlining dungeon grinds and gear. We're going to be removing a difficulty from the hell setting so players don't have to literally put themselves through hell in order to get the good gears. So the hell setting is going away and all of the hell gear is being applied now to the lower difficulty. What else?
And this is possible because we're not shafting the people that grinded really hard for this, because this is technically endgame wise, it's actually mid area. We recently, like a month or two ago, we had like a really, really big endgame content go in, and a lot of people were struggling on passing that and actually experiencing the story, because a lot of people really, really like the Elsword story. So we've actually put in a story mode difficulty as well to really just have them experience our story, the new dungeons and designs and everything that we put in, because we didn't want it to go to waste, basically.
Yeah, so before it used to be that if you wanted to access, let's say, the Elysion content, you couldn't even get into some of the dungeons unless your gear level was at X amount. So even though you are already at the storyline, you've completed all the dungeons and you just want to progress the story, you can't because it was gear locked.
Oh, so yeah, I could see why that would be frustrating.
Yeah, they'd be like, I don't care about the gear. I'm not here to grind out my loot. You know, they're talking about specifically unless you hit that minimum. Now, the game did it on purpose. It wasn't to lock the players out. It's bro, if you don't have this gear, you're going to get smashed. And so that is kind of going away, and the story mode difficulty is being put into place so that players that aren't completely geared out actually have access to and can progress still through the storyline to get up to speed.
Sounds good to me.
So lots of quality of life stuff, and that's going to continue. We had the big one last month, and then this is going to be another big one this month, and it's all going to lead and pave the way to streamline and make accessible all of the third job stuff and what we're going to explode with in the last month of the year.
Sounds like this is going to be a really big end of year for Elsword. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, and we're not going to just finish in December. All of the additions that we're going to be making are not just going to be like a once and done. It's going to be progressive through the first quarter of next year as well.
Oh, nice. There's more. There's even more beyond that coming.
Right. We wouldn't be able to lock all this out in 1 month. It's just too much content. I think our players' heads would explode.
I mean,
yeah, we wouldn't go home. I'd like say goodbye to your family. You're not going
no
home.
No offense to the players, but I want to go home on Christmas.
Christmas and Hanukkah are canceled. Sorry. Got work to do. Yeah, that sounds like a nice time frame to get all that stuff out, because I imagine that would take a very long time.
Well, we even joked around about, on Halloween we typically do like costume contests and player designs and all that other kind of stuff. We haven't been able to do anything. I mean, from the illustration team to code and everybody in between down to support, we've been so locked up that we couldn't kind of engage players the way that we typically do during the holidays. So, I mean, we have a fun Halloween event that is now going to be pushed out 2 weeks. So this is the first time that we're going to have a Halloween event that was expanded for on the week after Halloween. Because last Halloween we had an amazing dungeon where the boss was a big rainbow afro-colored mic that would dab. It was horrible, but the players loved it.
But the haters.
Yeah. So it was almost like a Dance Dance Revolution thing. You had to enter in all the arrow keys, and there was a custom dance mode in the game where all of the characters would dab and they had the whole dance thing. And then this year we've kind of got like this singular kind of linear
finding the wrong
like whack-a-mole Halloween event, which was fun, but when you compare it to last year, it's like, holy crap, guys, like you went like crazy last year, and now we've got like kind of this, what's going on? And so I think they kind of expanded, so now they're adding a co-op feature that's going to be going into the game for the follow-up dungeon for this week.
Yeah, it's a hide and seek. Basically, it's a co-op dungeon where players are disguised as monsters. And they have to move like the monsters do and stop when the timer runs out, and the players who's basically a tagger has to find them, and they have a certain number of tries until he loses, and then...
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you're disguised as a monster and you keep moving when all the other monsters stop, then it's apparent it's you, then you're going to get whacked by the player who's the tagger.
This went in solely because a lot of the players really wanted event dungeons, want to be co-op friendly, because event dungeons are fun and to experience, but by yourself is less fun. It could have been more people and your friends. So this is why we put it into the game, counting those player feedback.
All right, it sounds like it's going to be a busy fourth quarter and first quarter for next year for you guys. I'm excited for it. I've been sort of out of it, but now I really want to get back in and see a lot of this new content. 'Cause I love the Elsword story, and having more job options is always great. And then with the added, the extra skill bar, just everything coming is going to be really fun, I have a feeling.
Now, do you watch anime?
I do. I love anime.
So... Yeah, I think you have to ask. I mean, with gamers,
he did say story.
Yeah, he did say story. That's what I was asking. I was like,
yeah.
So we're going to be launching the official anime of Elsword.
Nice.
Now, episode 1 and 2 are already on YouTube from our home office in Korea. However, we are doing all the subs. We're going to retro back to episode 1, 2. And then we're going to be launching more episodes weekly, all the way through until the third job's launch.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is going to delve into the entire backstory of Elsword, a lot of fun elements. We get to call it canon, which is a lot of the... Elsword is not one of those games where everything is explained in game. So, it's fun because that's where all the fanfic comes in. That's where all the guesses and whodunits come in. So having the opportunity to watch Elsword, it plays into our tag. It used to be play your manga. And then people would joke around about anime. And, this game looks so anime and manga. Where is it? Well, here it is.
It really does. That's awesome. Will it only be available on YouTube, or will it be somewhere else, like whether it's Crunchyroll or on the KoG website?
Oh, it's it's all going to be hosted, so it's all going to be centralized. It's not going to be right now KoG Games versus KoG in Korea. Everything is going to be centralized. We're going to have a designated site so that players can literally watch all the episodes episodically.
So they could just binge them right on the website.
If you skip 5 weeks, you'll get to watch all 5 episodes. If you wait all the way until the end, you get to basically run through the entire run. So
that's probably what I'll wind up doing.
Or you get the players that want to see the updates, and so through social networking, through Twitter, through our website, it's going to be this blast. New episodes out, come watch. So anybody gets to consume as they see fit.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that.
I'm trying to figure out what else. Yeah, we're busy, man.
Sounds like it. It's all to the benefit of the Elsword community, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people have been asking for the third jobs for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
you already have way too many characters, and it was time.
Two is never enough.
No.
Two is never enough.
You look at MOBA games now, because you look at the you know, any of the RPG stuffs, like way back in the days, everyone was just like, holy crap, there's like 10 characters, and you're like,
Well, it's because a lot of the characters who still play Elsword, Aisha, Raven felt neglected because their character design technically is older than the new characters, and then there are some aspects where they felt like they were not as up to date to the new characters. But with the third job, everyone
gets something
new design, new skills. So it makes sense that we cater to the old dedicated players.
We've actually, this was in Korea. I mean, everybody sitting around a big round table going, why are we doing what we're doing? What's going on? What's the next step? And some heated debate. Somebody was like, what do you do with a purple mage that nobody likes? I mean, literally getting into issues where we're kind of trying, like everybody getting on the same page.
You give it a new hat.
You get, oh my God.
You just solved it.
You give them a new hat. They're like, oh, hey, it's new. And it's a hat.
Why are we even having this discussion anymore? We're done.
So, but then you look at the newest character that was just introduced into Elsword, and you have a male mage. He's a little outside of the box. He wouldn't be what your typical or so very iconoclastic in the way that he functions, but he looks like your anime guy. You know, he's got the pretty boy thing with the green hair and the long coat, and all of a sudden you jump in the game, you're going, okay, wait a minute, why is this guy so popular? I thought everybody hated mages. I thought everybody hated the flash, boom, and bang, and the consequence that comes with glass cannons.
Speak for yourself. It's the only way I know how to live.
Are you serious? Like, yeah, who doesn't want a glass cannon right now? Like, as far as like, you want to charge in and do as much damage as possible and just get vaporized in the process.
I'm all about big numbers. I mean, go big or go home.
Right? Oh, yeah, DPS fan?
Oh, yeah. DPS and heal are... I don't like to tank unless it's like a MOBA, but in any type of like MMO environment, I either heal or I try to do the biggest numbers as I possibly can.
Nice. So, I think what the consensus is, you hit the nail on the head. So now, when the team saw just how well the new character was embraced by the community, it was like, all right, now we have an idea on what to do. We have an idea on how to approach this, you know. So when we're talking about mages, not only do we put a new hat on the girl, but we make her flash, boom, bang, turn her into a glass cannon and just have her spin numbers like Ripley wouldn't believe. With what Jay was talking about, it's literally bringing every character up to the same art. I mean, what do you do with the character when your 3 base characters are, 8 years old?
Yeah, you gotta do something.
Yeah, but to go back and redraw them, you're gonna piss some players off.
Oh yeah.
So like now that's not my character anymore because they had a very specific look or a very specific design. They like the classic stuff. The new players aren't gonna care. They'll be like, oh, he looks cool. You know, for players that have literally been dedicated for the last 6 years plus, they're gonna be like, why did you change my character? Why did you change this? I mean, we have some players, even to this day, will balance and even buff their character, and they're like, I don't like it. Now it functions.
OP, everyone's playing it now.
Yeah, everyone's So to bring all of the characters up to spec, to bring all of the jobs up to spec, and it's better than a band-aid. So going back and trying to work on rebalances and upsetting some players and making other players happy, or now we have everybody on the same playing field, every single character. So
and now if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. They can keep using whatever they're already using if that's how they want to play.
Oh yeah, I mean, Iron was a perfect example. Everyone was like, Apostasia, the apostate, his last job was supposed to be OP. He's dark, he's brooding, big AoE edgy. Vacuum skill, edgy. Please, oh god.
He's probably the character I played the most. I'm not gonna lie.
You have this character, and everyone was expecting death and dismemberment and disintegration abound.
He's
not true.
Balanced.
He was balanced. Everybody went back to the EE, which is the glass cannon, because they didn't like the balance.
Glass cannon healer.
Glass cannon healer.
Mana battery.
What? So, but I mean, yeah, the Apostasia does this metric truck ton of damage, and he's easy
like
to control,
very
but
AOE focused.
And it didn't take. Everyone went back to EE or Blue Hun Emotion, the character to Glass Cannon, the Emotion. We got to see that bounce back. Even Eve, one of the most popular characters in the game, everybody was talking about her latest update to
Balance.
right. So Code Battle Seraph and Code Empress were two of the least played, and now they're the most played. A couple balance tweaks, but that wasn't
Empress more than CBS, just because she got really loved.
But that was more from the buff aspect. But when people see the CBS character,
by concept, people really like CBS.
Yeah.
But by pure stat wise, Empress always takes the case.
But Nemesis was supposed to be the character that was the most powerful. They went right by Nemesis and literally made CBS and Empress the most popular characters. And so watching how the players adjust to these changes. Now CBS or Code Battle Seraph has such an unorthodox playing style that it catches people off guard. They found out just how awesome that is. And then her AoE, her actually single target.
Homing laser,
single target damage is just off the charts.
One shot.
When Jay, you can shut up about that one shot thing. On my GM character, completely geared out, Jay jumped on and was like, I'm going to tweak this and tweak that. And he's all, let me know how much damage this does. I got 100 owed. And I was like, he just melted my face.
And I was like, yeah, that kind of works, guys.
All right, I guess we're done here.
Good.
And so you have that
Looks
contingency.
balanced.
Right. But on the offset, if you catch Eve before she starts generating mana fast enough.
But that takes 500 mana.
That takes 500 mana. But if you can run and you can use your map control, that is still realistic.
The thing is, a lot of people can't even have 500 mana. You start off with 300 mana, and then you have to have Outer Resonance to increase your mana pool. So it takes a lot more than just setting up skills. You actually have to be a dedicated Eve player that have put in certain amount of hours into like having that really refined stats from gears and whatnot.
Right.
You can't just jump in and do it and expect it to just one-shot people.
It's only OP because you made it OP.
Yeah. You master your contingency casting. You start setting yourself up with all of your buffs, knowing that you now have a 30-second window in order to stack another 250 mana to get your uber face-melting laser. And so you can, it is attainable. So it's not like, okay, you're either geared out or you suck. It's, you can build this out based on your playstyle in order to accommodate that end game. And so that's what we're going to double back on. So players have these characters where if you dedicate yourself to it, you can figure out a way, go outside of the box, not just play what everybody else is playing, and still be competitive.
Excellent. It sounds like there's a lot coming up that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to see how players, whether they're new or old, tackle these new classes, these new paths.
Me too.
Yeah, you know what's funny is
copy their build.
See what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not done. We talked to the design team from dev on even what the next step is going to be. And so the rollout process is, like I said, it was not done overnight. They did not start like 2 years ago. I mean, this is literally like elbow deep as we're going through these things, and it allows the team to basically respond to how the players are going to see the impact. And so instead of waiting for a year after to find out what needs to be tweaked, you kind of get that almost immediate feedback and see how those players are responding to things in real time. And because we're not rolling everything out in one shot,
we pretty much do balance patches every 2 to 4 weeks, so we
Right.
are not stopping. And we haven't stopped for 6 years. Why stop now, right?
Yeah. May as well keep on going.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if it ain't broke, why balance patch it?
Not the word.
No.
Well, it looks like you guys have a lot coming out that's definitely going to keep the player base interested. And it's starting, you said the first big update is coming today, I believe?
Yes. Tonight.
Tonight.
Tonight, yes.
Yeah, when the servers go down, when it comes up tomorrow, a lot of those the in-game quality of life stuff that Jay was talking about earlier is going to go in.
And then the hide and seek dungeon.
And the second dungeon rollout for Halloween.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Something that you talked about earlier was how are we engaging players across the board, and that's why I wanted to kind of have Shyla explain what we're doing with the complete revamp of our forums, like new forum software, new everything, new faces on the moderator teams, events across the board, social networking and stuff like that. But this is all technically in line with the new direction of the company.
Man, I'm still waiting on new forum software. not to put my bosses on the spot or anything, but
you know, Jason,
does I still want that page?
You're right. I was just as long as I mean, obviously MMOHuts and KoG go back years, but I remember years ago hearing everyone going, you know, an update is probably just about due, and I'm like, oh.
we're still due.
Are you gonna be okay after this?
I'm sure it's fine. So there's going to be all new forum stuff for people. It's going to be, I imagine it'll be a lot easier for people to navigate and get in touch with moderators, things like that.
Yes, no, we actually have, we launched the forums back in August. Mm-hmm. So we're still working with it. One of the best features about the forums is that it uses a single sign-on login. So you use your before you had a separate login for the forums than you did for the game. Now it's all one login information, and what's neat about that is we're able to pull in-game information onto the forums. So now if I talk to a player, they're actually using a name and a character face from one of their characters on their game account on the forum. So it's a lot easier to make friends. It's a lot easier to meet people on the forums and in the game. Like, hey, aren't you that Eve that we ran that dungeon together? And the name looks familiar. So it's building up that community with the players. We also did just hire a whole bunch of new mods. We're trying to get the mods more involved, more fun events. If you look on our forums right now, we have, we are finishing a art contest. We have a lot of talented artists in our community. So we have an art contest. We just did a writing prompt contest where players got to write their own fan fiction story, which was really interesting. We also did, when we launched the forums, we were able to put a little bit of touches in it. So we added some Elsword stickers that players can use. We got a lot of feedback from the players. Like, I want to use these stickers. These are really awesome. So what we did is we ran a contest where players were able to submit their own sticker designs. And we picked the winners to actually be implemented on the forums to give it a little bit more of that community touch. And that's definitely another event that we're looking at running again in the future, just to keep the players, keep evolving the forums, keep the players wanting to come back, participate, and talk with one another.
The memes move fast.
So the stickers are basically the Elsword characters in some sort of like chibi or meme form.
Or an emoticon.
Emoticon, right.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so if you look at our forums and if you log in, they're the standard Elsword ones that we have, and then you'll see at the bottom a whole bunch of the player ones. And what's nice about that is you get to see a little bit more inside of the players. Like, sure, they use the Elsword characters, but some of them also use NPCs that they really like, and we put that in. One of the players didn't even use characters at all. Their sticker pack was...
a broken gear.
Yeah, it was like a broken gear symbol or a mailbox that could be used on...
Oh, look, my enhancement failed again.
One of the things that we run into a lot when it comes to our community is, like myself, I was somebody who never went onto the forums. It didn't matter what game I played, because I didn't want to care about, unless I needed a build. Like, unless I was strapped, I'd go, seek one out, and then that was it. That was the only time I logged onto the forum. I double-click on my game EXE or Steam, and I go into the game. And so I get missed by a lot of what the actual community in game has. And so that's one of the things that I absolutely love about how Shyla is running our social networking is, if you're on social networking, Facebook has its own run of everything, its own events, its own communication, but anything that's important gets blasted. Twitter, the forum has their own stuff. Our Steam community has all of their own announcements. Elsword's been a top 100 Steam game 13 times. And I'm going like, how do you manage all of these people and communicate with them? And so that was something that is, I have to thank Shyla quite a bit, because it's when you manage all of these communities and you're trying to keep everybody in the know about what's being happening. I look at what's going on at the end of this year and my hair's going to fall out.
I see it and it's a lot of fun for me, because then it's like, oh, look at all this info I get to share.
That's one of my favorite parts about this job, too.
Just sharing the info?
Oh, yeah. As long as it doesn't have an embargo, I'm not trying to get fired.
That's my job. Hey, oh.
Swear to God, if you post that.
I'm gonna have to fly to Korea.
So yeah, no, it's fun. We have some new things that we're looking into, such as getting some player streamers going. We do have a current group right now that we call the Kobo Crew that live stream on Twitch. We like to help them out, so we're looking at beefing that up just to get more of a presence there, as well as potential YouTube gaming that I know a lot of streamers and will do Let's Plays on YouTube. So we're looking at expanding that and helping those out, and then letting those players help us with the community, but letting them do their own thing. So they get to have fun, they get to have fun with the players, we help support them, but they're also helping us out in the long run.
Excellent.
Our game.
Yeah, by enjoying our game, which they enjoy anyway, so it's a win-win.
Definitely.
And that's one of the ways we help out, like anyone, our dedicated, like our mods and our Kobo guys, is we allow them to experience that content. I mean, if they want to show off Elsword and show off like why they play Elsword and the things that they're into, then who are we to basically say, hey, yeah, you do what you got to do and we'll help you out.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Or even with like our tournament players and stuff like that. So we are going to be expanding later on back into the tournament features. So that was one of the most popular things about Elsword before. And to put things into perspective, we would need 12 people in order to officiate one of our tournaments in the past. So when we did one of our official sanctioned tournaments, it took 12 people and 3 days.
Whew.
And so this isn't. This is literally basically the NCAA style bracketed tournaments that are seeded, depending on the tournament structure and everything else like that. So we had to put it on hold because it started to literally overtake operations. And so now we're considering going back into that tournament structure, and opening up the sanctioned tournaments again. But now we're going to hit it from a different angle, and we want to start integrating the community to help us do that and start actually playing on some of the more esports driven environments. But this is our first time at the rodeo as far as hitting it from this particular angle. But using our community, I think obviously in a tournament environment, they're going to know more than we do. So it's not about a pride deal or basically saying, well, our players can, of course, a player, it doesn't matter what game you develop. I haven't heard of a developer literally saying that they've been better at their game than some of their top end PvP players. It just doesn't make any sense.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with me and talk about Elsword. I'm really looking forward to all the updates that are coming over the next couple of months. Stay tuned to MMOHuts.com for all the latest gaming news and reviews, especially about Elsword.